we're gonna have a couple of blocks, set them up at the front of your mat. Make sure you guys can see. And then we're just gonna come to a seated position. Okay. Place your hands on your tops of your knees. Good, and then let's just start to circle the spine. So circling your spine in one direction. And so this is just movement, allowing our energy to stir, allowing our spine to warm up, allowing our consciousness to start to move inside the body. So this is a really cool practice, this practice of yoga, because we are allowing our curiosity, our consciousness to explore our internal world through all kinds of different shapes and circumstances. So we might come to our mat and be feeling any particular way, right? It's an opportunity for us to explore the journey that we take and the time that we spend on our mat. So I'm going to stop talking for a moment. Keep circling your spine in the same direction. If you want to make it bigger, you can just make it feel good, right? So we're trying to tune into that internal teacher. Good, and then let's start circling in the opposite direction. And just letting the movement and the breath be directed from within. And think of the breath encapsulating the movement. And the breath is circular, the movement is circular. Good, and then slowly make your circles smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until you're just circling around the tiniest diameter vertical axis of your body. And then pause and start to focus on your breath. So let's all empty the lungs completely. And then take a deep full breath in, filling your lungs from the bottom to the sides to the top. Hold your breath. Feel the breath lift all the way up to underneath the collarbones. Open your mouth and sigh the breath out, release. We're going to do that a few times. So deep breath in, filling from the bottom to the top. Feel your breath rising like you're pouring it into a pitcher. Open your mouth and feel that release. Let's do it again. Two more times. Pour that breath into all the little nooks and crannies. And your last nice, big, deep cleansing breath. And then close your mouth. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And as you exhale out through your nose, think about making the sound but through your nose. So it's kind of like as if you were fogging up a mirror. So we're turning on Ujjayi Pranayama. The breath becomes audible. And as we allow the breath to become rhythmic, we focus on the alignment of the body. So we find our two sitting bones and push them down into the floor. And then we draw an energetic line lifting up the spine, elongating all four sides of the rib cage off of the pelvis, lifting the back ribs, exaggerating that a little bit. And imagining that you have a cable pulling the top of your skull towards the ceiling as your shoulders melt away from your ears. And then lastly, imagine that you could lift your heart from the inside out. And just take a moment to notice with curiosity, what is emerging? What is evolving? What is asking to come through you? And then bring your hands together in front of your heart and just have this moment with yourself to make this practice intentional. This isn't just a series of postures we put our body into because we're stretching out. We're here to connect to that inner self, that inner world, and to explore it. Beautiful. So slowly allow your eyes to open. Release your palms. You have your blocks at the top of your mat. Let's come to a standing position, the top of your yoga mat. And just take a moment and rock your weight from side to side and just kind of notice the sensors on the bottom of your feet. Feel the texture of your yoga mat. Let's start with our foundation, just feeling the ground. Good, and then start to set up your foundation. So press down through all four corners of your feet. Think of lifting the inner arches up as you firm the outer ankles in. So that's our foundation, right? And then from there, we can think about lifting the kneecaps gently with the quadriceps as we allow the hamstrings to gently elongate the tailbone down. So if we think about it, the pelvis becomes fairly level here. Now, move your shoulders back a little bit, but at the same time, think about snuggling your front ribs in. So you're not allowing those front ribs to puff out. Take a moment and feel the crown of your head elongating towards the sky. Shoulders melt away from the ears. Good, now on your inhale breath, circle your arms up to the sky, palms face one another. Pause here. As we pause in this shape, we notice what's happened to the shape of our body. So we make sure the tailbone is still pointing down. We make sure those front ribs haven't poofed out, right? They want to. And then think about your shoulder blades moving towards the sides of your body. So it's like your pinky fingers are moving towards one another, and everything is trying to move in and curl in and draw in towards that center line. So you feel your body engaged and strong here. Good, take an inhale, allow your heart to lift. Good, and as you exhale, bend your knees and fold forward and place your hands on the blocks, okay? So this is a very gentle forward fold. With your hands on the blocks, keep your belly and your thighs connected and just start to lift the sides of the hips up a little bit. Good, so as you lift the sides of the hips up, I want you to think about your inner thighs, and I want you to think about gently starting to draw them towards the back of your yoga mat and towards the center line of your yoga mat. Good, and then inhale, lift your chest, draw the lowest part of your belly in. See if you can find length through the uppermost part of your spine. Good, and as you exhale, place your hands on the blocks and step back into a downward facing dog with your hands on the blocks. So with your hands on the blocks, you're able to elongate your spine a little bit more. You're able to press more energy back into your legs. So really, let's start with the legs. Think about the very uppermost part of your thigh bones moving back. Lift your sitting bones up as high as you can. And let your heels descend down any amount. They absolutely don't need to touch the floor. Imagine those two blocks underneath your hands were sponges, and you were trying to slide those sponges forward towards the front of your mat. And at the same time you're feeling that, can you feel those outermost tips of your shoulder blades hugging onto the sides of your body? Good. As you inhale, shift forward to the top of a push-up with your hands on the blocks. Press your heels back against an imaginary wall, but feel your inner thighs as if they could lift up towards the sky. At the same time, you firm your outer hips in. The tailbone is reaching for the heels. The crown of the head is elongating out of the spine and the front of the body is hugging in to support the back of the body. Take one more inhale here, making sure that you're pushing down into those blocks so that your heart lifts towards the back of your body. On your next exhale breath, lift your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Good. Step your right foot forward. Step your left foot forward. As you inhale, lift your chest. Reach your chest forward. Draw the lowest part of your belly in. As you exhale, fold back down. Good. Root to rise. Feel that foundation, the texture of your yoga mat. Lift the energy up as you circle your arms to the sky. The tailbone points down. The arms reach up. The shoulder blades encapsulate the sides of the body. As you exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Good. Inhale. Circle your arms. Reach up. Lift your arms up out of the sides of your body. Good. As you exhale, fold forward, long spine. You can place your hands on those blocks again, spin the inner thighs backwards. As you inhale, lift your chest. And as you exhale, step your left foot to the back of the mat, drop your left knee down. So we're gonna be very precise here, right? Press the top of your left foot down, and right away start to scissor the legs, meaning you're pulling your right heel backwards and trying to slide your left knee forward without them actually moving, right? So you're drawing energy in towards the midline. Good. Now bring your hands to your hips, and we're going to place all of our attention on our pelvis. So the frontal hip points are lifting up, meaning the pubic bone is lifting towards the belly button. The tailbone is moving down towards that back knee. Now place your awareness on the two sitting bones and see if you can level them out. Usually the right is a little bit higher. As you level them out, can you compact the sides of the hips? So we feel a lot of stability in our foundation. Now, circle your arms up to the sky, being aware that you don't puff those front ribs out. So you're lifting the thumb side of your hand with a little bit more vigor to lift those back ribs up off of the kidneys. And so as you stay here and you focus on the precision of the pose, sometimes it's a bit of a balancing act, but we want to have a super strong foundation so that we can find that lift and that spaciousness through our spine. We want this practice to help us move energy through our spine. From here, allow your palms to draw towards one another, perhaps look up, and then lift your heart from the inside out. Good, and as you exhale, place your hands back down on the blocks. Tuck your back toes under. Lift your back knee up off of the mat. Runner's lunge. Same thing, scissor the legs. Right heel pulls backwards, left toes try to pull forward. Left inner thigh tries to spin up towards the ceiling. Elongate your sternum away from your belly and your head away from your sternum. So you're creating a nice long line out of the inseam of that left leg. Good. On your next exhale breath, step your right foot back, downward facing dog. And then same thing, as you're trying to press the blocks towards the front of the mat, you're trying to reach your hips as far in the opposing direction as you can. Your arms are in line with, your biceps are in line with your cheekbones or your ears. Relax the crown of your head down. Good. Step your left foot between your hands. Drop your back knee down. Release the top of your right foot down into the mat. Feel the texture of the yoga mat underneath you. Right away, start to scissor that left heel back. Right knee forward. Bring your hands to your hips. Think of lifting the pubic bone towards the navel as you release the tailbone down towards that back knee. And then can you level your pelvis? Notice, is your pelvis skewed? As you level it, can you compact firm in the sides of the hips? Good, and then once you have that strong foundation, circle your arms up to the sky and imagine your arms are lifting your torso up out of the strength of your pelvis. So it's like you're a plant that's growing towards the sky. Energize your arms. What are you practicing? What are you evolving to become? How does your practice support that? Slowly allow your palms to move towards one another. Perhaps look up, lift your heart from the inside out. And as you exhale, bring your hands down to the blocks. Tuck your right toes under, runner's lunge. So you draw that left heel back. You spin the right inner thigh up towards the sky. Imagine you could pull your blocks backwards so you feel your upper spine starting to elongate and reach. Feeling that stretch on your right hip flexor. Your left knee is right on top of your left ankle. Good. And then step your right foot forward to meet your left. Fold forward on an exhale breath. On an inhale, lift your chest. On an exhale, fold it in. On an inhale, circle your arms, gather your energy, create that strong foundation you can reach and elongate and strive out of. As you exhale, return to your intention. Again, inhale, circle your arms, reach up, engage every single muscle in your body. This is a full consciousness practice. As you exhale, fold it forward. As you inhale, lift your chest. As you exhale, step your right foot to the back of the yoga mat. We're gonna do that a little bit quicker. Drop your right knee down. Scissor the legs, engage the muscles around the pelvis, and as you inhale, circle your arms up. Allow your palms to touch, maybe look up, allow your heart to lift. Can you lift your torso up out of your pelvis? Good, and then as you exhale, bring your hands down, tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee up off of the mat. Just spend that moment in the runner's lunge. Good, then on your exhale breath, step your left foot back to meet your right, downward facing dog. Explore the length you can create with your hands on the blocks. Good, shift forward to plank pose and step your right foot between your blocks. Drop your back knee down. Root the top of your left foot down. Engage the muscles around your pelvis. And as you inhale, circle your arms. Lift your torso up out of your pelvis. Make sure your foundation feels extraordinarily strong and solid. Good, and then allow your palms to touch. Maybe look up, lift your heart from the inside out. And as you exhale, bring your hands down to the blocks, tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee up off of the mat. Runner's lunge. You're thinking about how long you can make your body. Everything is intentional. 100% of your energy and focus, which doesn't always mean 100% of your effort. So there's a distinction there. Good, step your left foot forward to meet your right. As you inhale, lift your chest. As you exhale, fold it in. As you inhale, circle your arms, reach up to the sky. As you exhale, hands to your heart. Good, inhale, circle the arms, reach up. Exhale, hinge forward and fold. As you inhale, lift the chest. As you exhale, step your left foot to the back of the yoga mat. This time, runner's lunge. Good. You're just going to hold this runner's lunge. Get a little bit lighter on your fingertips as you scissor the legs towards one another. Good. And then just move the blocks aside and step back to plank pose this time. Drop your knees down to the floor. Lower yourself halfway down as you draw your belly muscles in, chaturanga, and hold. 3, 2, 1. Release all the way down. As you inhale, press your pubic bone down into the mat. Draw your sternum forward, 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 then up, baby cobra. Lift your upper spine. Good, and as you exhale, roll back down, tuck your toes under, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up to the sky. As you exhale, step your left foot between your hands. Grab your blocks again, place your hands on the blocks. Runner's lunge here. Think of scissoring the legs, get a little bit lighter onto your fingertips. So the strength is in the lower body, the strength is in the legs. That's what we're trying to reinforce. Good, and then step your right foot forward to meet your left. As you inhale, lift your chest. As you exhale, fold it in. As you inhale, circle the arms, reach up to the sky. And as you exhale, hands to your heart. One more round. Inhale, circle your arms, reach up to the sky. Exhale, hinge from your hips, fold forward. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, step your right foot to the back of the yoga mat. Runner's lunge. You can right away get lighter onto your fingertips as you really feel that strength in the lower part of your body so that the upper part of your body can stretch and elongate. Good. Move your blocks aside. Place your hands down. Step back to the top of a push-up. Feel those inner thighs spinning up towards the ceiling. Drop your knees to the floor. Lower halfway down, chaturanga. Elbows hug the sides of the body. Belly zips up from the pubic bone to the navel. Lower yourself all the way down. Press your pubic bone down into the floor. Spin your pinky toes down into the floor. Draw your sternum forward to coil your upper spine up, engaging through the upper back. Good. As you exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up to the sky. As you exhale, shift forward, step your foot between your hands, grab your blocks again. Place your hands on the blocks, but right away, just lift up onto your fingertips. Spinning that left inner thigh up, making sure your right knee is on top of your ankle. And then step your left foot forward to meet your right. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold it down. Inhale, root to rise, gather energy. As you exhale, hands to your heart. Surya Namaskar A, inhale, circle the arms, gather that energy. Exhale, what are you practicing as you flow? Inhale, reach your chest forward. Exhale, step back to a plank pose and lower through chaturanga or skip chaturanga and baby cobra or maybe up dog, depending on you. And take it straight back to downward facing dog is always an option. So what are we practicing? Practicing more wisdom, perhaps. For me this morning, what I normally would do is wake up on New Year's Day and go for a run, have that discipline. And so as I move along and evolve on this path of life, sometimes, doing the same thing. Is it new or is it new? The new thing was to meditate and to be a little bit more soft with myself. So what is yours? At the end of your next breath, bend your knees, look forward, step, walk, or jump to the top of your mat. As you inhale, lengthen your chest forward. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, circle and rise all the way up. Exhale, hands return to your heart. Inhale, circle the arms, close your eyes, and let the energy move you from within. You're moving to the tempo of your breath, exhaling to fold. Inhaling to lengthen your spine. Exhaling to find chaturanga, or maybe to skip all of that. Beautiful. And as you find your way back to downward facing dog, you have that opportunity to look within. Focus on the depth and the evenness of your inhale and exhale breath. Good. At the end of your next breath, bend your knees, look forward, step, walk, or jump to the top. Good. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold it in. Inhale, move with your breath. Lift the energy up. Exhale, download the energy right down into the center of your body. Let's do this one more time. Inhale, circle the arms, reach up. Exhale, hinge from your hips, fold it forward. Let your breath be the leader, and you're dancing to that rhythm. Good. Inhale your right leg straight back behind you. As you exhale, Bring your right knee to your left tricep. Inhale, send your right leg up and back again. As you exhale, right knee, right tricep. Inhale, send your right leg up and back again. As you exhale, right knee down the middle, step your foot between your hands. Grab your blocks again if you need them. You'll only be here for a second, so get light onto your fingertips, bend your back knee a lot, and then bring your hands to your hips. So again, I'm going to ask you to bring awareness to your pelvis. I want you to lift those frontal hip points up. Think of your pubic bone lifting towards your navel. Think of both of your sitting bones being level as you firm the outer hips in. Good, and then maintain the integrity, the shape of your pelvis as you start to straighten your back leg any amount. Good, circle your arms up to the sky. As you maintain that solidity in your lower body, your upper body is able to lift, but think about lifting those back ribs up away from the kidneys. Hold it and breathe. Find that gaze. Find that ability to continue to circulate your awareness. And then maybe your palms join, maybe you look up, lift your heart from the inside out. Good, and as you exhale, bring your hands back down to the block, step your back foot forward in a little bit, stay high on the ball of your back foot and straighten your right leg. You're getting that hamstring stretch. Good, now very mindfully turn your left foot down, line up heel to arch alignment, and bend your right knee so that it's tracking right over your second and third toe. Cartwheel your arms open for Virabhadrasana 2. Feel as if you were being stretched left arm to right arm, widening across your chest and widening across your back. Think of drawing the feet in towards one another to create that strength in our foundation, but also really rooting the outer edge of that back foot down. So you're imagining a line of energy that's reaching down your back leg through your left heel. Flip your right palm over as you inhale, reverse your warrior, pause here. Breathe into the right side of your body. The foundation is still strong so that the upper body, it's like the sunshine is shining behind you and you're like a branch stretching for the sunlight. And then return to warrior 2. Straighten your front leg, coming towards Trikonasana Pose. Press into the ball mound of your right toe. And then shift your hips backwards, reach through your right arm, and take your hand down to the block behind your right ankle. Revolve your chest and your belly open. And imagine the right side of your waist is lifting up to support so that you can further revolve your chest and your belly open. Left hand to the left hip. Bend the right knee. Walk your block forward about 8 inches of your pinky toe. Hop your back foot in a little bit. Good, now I want you to think from the ground up, like you're wearing a stirrup on your right foot. You're going to start to float that left leg up to the height of your sitting bone. Your left toes are facing the left side of the room. Your right outer hip is hugging in towards the midline. And then take your left arm up to the sky and imagine you could expand in every single direction. So from your back heel to the crown of your head, from your bottom arm to your top arm, keep lifting and lengthening. And breathe. What are you practicing right now? Good. Bend your right knee, reach your left leg way back behind you. Landing back in Trikonasana Pose, slide your block backward. Good, and then rise back up and turn your feet so that they are parallel to one another. Hands to your hips, notice where your pelvis is. As you inhale, lift your chest from the inside out. And as you exhale, revolve your pelvis over your thighs. Feel your pelvis actually revolve. Good, and then place your hands down on the mat. Release the crown of your head down towards the floor. Energize your inner legs. So imagine you could draw your feet in towards one another. Kylie, maybe a block? Yeah. Good time to just release. Let yourself breathe it out. Good, and then on your inhale, lengthen your chest. As you exhale, fold in hands to hips. And as you inhale, rise all the way up. Turn your right toes forward, turn your left foot slightly in. Bend your right knee, track it straight over the center of your right foot. And place your right hand down on the block behind your right ankle. Seal your right knee into your right elbow. Take your left arm straight up to the sky. Imagine you were reaching for a star. Let your chest and the back of your body broaden. Good, and then like you're scooping water, revolve your palm and reach towards the front of the room. Energize your back leg. Think of your left inner thigh lifting up to support the architecture of the pose. The foundation is strong so that we can evolve. Breathe. Explore your process as you stay and breathe. On your next inhale breath, return to Warrior Two. Straighten your front leg and sit down towards the left side for Skandasana. You can grab a block and bring it over. If you need to put your booty down on the block, it's totally fine. Or you can bring your hands together in front of your heart. Right toes are flexing up towards the ceiling. You can also place your fingertips down. And if your heel lifted up today, don't worry about it. If you came over to Skandasana and you're popped up, it's okay. You just find where it feels good to you. Good, and then place your hands down on the floor. Walk it back towards your right leg. So we're back in that low lunge again. Left hand down, right arm spins up to the sky, coming into the twist. So that left inner thigh is still spinning up towards the ceiling, and you're leaning the uppermost part of your back backwards. Good. So you can stay here, or you can start to heel toe your right foot towards the center of the long edge of your mat, see? And roll to the outer edge of your left foot and come into this variation of Vashi, optional. You can come into full Vashi, you can stay in the twist. Eventually we're all going to make our way back to downward facing dog, and we're all going to choose the most wise journey to get there, listening from the inside out. Come back home and downward facing dog. What are you practicing? Good. Inhale your left leg straight back behind you. Make sure your blocks are at the top of your mat. Mine moved to the back somehow. As you exhale, shift forward, step your left foot between your hands. Grab the blocks for a moment. Place your fingertips on the blocks, right? So we're going back into that crescent pose, but we're getting there mindfully. So draw the left heel back, draw the right toes slightly forward without actually moving them. And then bring your hands to your hips and lift the pubic bone up towards the navel. Feel where your two sitting bones are and try to make sure they're level. Compact the sides of the hips in. So you have all this strength around the base of your spine. That's a foundation, right? You have all that strength you built from the ground up through your legs. Now start to straighten the back leg. Any amount, might not be very much. Lift your arms up to the sky. Feel your shoulder blades hugging the sides of your body. Lift up through the thumb side of your hand to lift your back ribs up away from your kidneys. Soften your shoulders away from your ears. Maybe the palms draw towards one another. You look up, your heart lifts from the inside out. Good. As you exhale, bring your hands back down to the block. Stay high on the ball of your back foot and straighten your left leg. Spin both inner thighs on the midline of your mat towards the back of your mat. Even here, where are your two sitting bones? Can you find a levelness? Good. And then bend your left knee so it tracks right over the second and third toe. Very mindfully revolve your right foot down, heel to arch alignment. You see your left knee is tracking. Cartwheel your arms open, Virabhadrasana 2. Good. Imagine someone's pulling your right arm backwards. You're a warrior right now. What are you embodying? What is the story that is seeking to emerge through the story of your life? Flip your left palm over, reverse your warrior, hold this posture, stay strong in your foundation. Opening up the heart, imagining that you were reaching for the sun, reaching for your destiny. Good, and then return to warrior 2. Straighten your left leg, press into the ball mound of your left toe. You're firming that outer left shin in, so it's like it's trying to wrap underneath towards the midline of your calf. Press into that ball mound to allow your pelvis to shift. You can think of deepening the crease of your left hip. And then place your hand on the block to the back of your left ankle and revolve your chest open for Trikonasana Pose. So your hips right now are on an angle. We're not trying to square the hips, so that's gonna crunch your lower back a lot. So let that right hip somewhat roll forward a little bit, right? Draw the left thigh bone into the hip socket as you press through the ball mound of that left toe. Reach through the crown of your head. Feel the left side of your body getting stronger to support you so that you can find a little bit more opening to your chest. Breathe here. Mary, try to lift your right collarbone up. There you go. Beautiful. Bring your right hand to your hip. Bend your left knee. Look forward. You're going to be mindful. There's no, gotta get there, right? Your approach is everything. Walk your block forward. Think of the ground up. You have that stirrup on your left foot. Float your right heel to the height of your sitting bone. Eventually, you take your right arm up to the sky, and you think of like you're a starfish. Everything is expanding away from the center of your body. The center of your body is strong, your foundation's strong. Your outer left hip is hugging into the midline. Good, and then you'll slowly start to bend that left knee. Reach your right leg way back behind you. When you land, find your way back into Trikonasana Pose. Good, and then rise all the way up. Turn your toes so that they are parallel to one another. Bring your hands to your hips. Lift those frontal hip points up. Reach your arms behind your back, interlace your fingers. And then keep your elbows very bent, very bent. Start to draw the inner elbows in towards one another. And then start to send the knuckles down, but as you send the knuckles down, lift the pubic bone up towards the navel. Allow your heart to lift. Good, and as you exhale, fold over, feel your pelvis revolve over your thighs. Coming into that forward fold. The legs are super active, so there's a foundation there. The legs draw in towards one another. So much so that you feel that your pelvic floor, the very lowermost part of your pelvis, can lift up. Kind of like the part where if you had to pee, you would have to kind of engage that part of your body. And you find that. Good. Move the interlace of your fingers over so your opposite pinky is on top. And then squeeze your shoulder blades and see if you can lift the shoulder heads away from the floor as you relax the crown of your head down. Good. Release the interlace. Bring your hands down to the floor. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, fold it in. And as you inhale, rise all the way up, hands to hips. Good. Turn your left toes forward, turn your right foot in, heel to arch alignment. Track your left knee right over the center of your left foot. And take your left hand to the block on the outside of your left ankle. So here we are in Trikonasana. Top arm is stretching up, your chest is open, the back of your body is broad as you press the outer edge of your back foot. Imagine you were trying to hold like a pack of cards between your elbow and your knee. So there's a significant amount of pressure there. And then revolve your right palm and reach out. Think of elongating through the entire right side of your body from the strength of that right leg. That's your foundation. Roll your chest up towards the sky. Everything is engaged. There's like channels of energy that are being energized through this practice. Breathe into those channels. Good. And then as you inhale, return to warrior two. You're going to straighten that left leg and you're going to sit down towards the right. Maybe take a block with you if you need it. Coming into Skandasana. Allow yourself to breathe. Allow yourself to be in the present, whatever the present is for you right now. Maybe balance is an issue. Maybe usually you can keep your heel down, but today you can't. It's all good. Just be in the process of where you are. Good. Hands to the floor. Walk it back towards your front left leg. Come back into runner's lunge. Both blocks maybe are there. Good. And then draw the left heel backwards. Right toes forward. Right hand to the floor or a block. And revolve that left arm open for the twist. Opening up through your chest. So option to stay here. Or option to start to heel toe your left foot towards the middle of the left side of your mat as you roll to the outer edge of your right foot. Push the floor away with your hand. Lift the side of your waist if you're choosing that. Full Vashi if you want it, any variation. Good, and then make your transition back to downward facing dog. However, is in your best interest to do so. Spend these last few moments in downward facing dog, allowing yourself to be really rooted. Imagine you could send roots down through the centers of your palms. Imagine you could send roots down through your heels. Even if your heels are away from the floor, the roots are still reaching down. And then from those roots, can you feel that energetic lift? Your pelvis is lifting up. Good. And then bend your knees and come down. Shift your hips back into a child's pose. And just allow yourself to breathe into the back of your body and allow yourself to really soften. And when you soften, just releasing any effort from the practice, releasing all of the concentration, and just allowing the breath to move whatever's been generated through you. Good, and then as you're ready, roll over onto your back. And bring your feet so that your heels are in line with your sitting bones. We're going to move into a bridge pose. So think about moving your tailbone towards the back of your knees and sliding your knees forward at the same time as you lift your hips up off of the floor. Good. So the inner thighs are trying to spin down towards the floor. It's the same action of firming the sides of the hips. And then if you want to interlace your hands and walk your shoulder blades underneath your body a little bit more, lift up through your chest as you keep scooping through the lowest part of your belly. Good, and then slowly release if you have your hands and roll yourself down vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae from your upper spine down to your lower spine. And just allow your body to recalibrate, allow that energy to move, recirculate. And then let's do it again. So slowly start to lengthen the tailbone, slide the knees forward so the pelvis is going on that journey. And then if you interlaced your hands, do it the opposite, thumb on top this time. Think of those inner thighs revolving down towards the floor. If you have your hands, release them, roll it down, vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae. Okay, so last one, we're going to use the block this time. So lift your hips up and slide the block underneath your sacrum at any height that feels appropriate to you. Allow your lower back to just be supported on this platform. And so the root of our spine, right, is like how we generate energy. And we know that if we have a back injury, it debilitates us in a lot of ways. So just imagine that your spine is being allowed to elongate here. And then pull your one knee in towards your chest and then the other. Make sure that your platform is nice and strong, your foundation is strong. And then take your legs up towards the ceiling. As you take your legs up to the ceiling, be aware that you don't allow your mid-back to sag down. So it's like you're creating a little archway through between the block and your shoulders. And so all of that work we did in the foundation, strengthening the foundation, we're just letting that energy move back down through us, into us. Give us that energy for the day, that grounded, centered energy when we've been able to move through all of those channels. Good, so bend your knees, lower your legs down to the floor. Take your block down setting by setting, so if you're on the highest, go to the medium. If you're on the medium, go to the low. If you're on the low, just slide it out. Once you feel like you've recalibrated to whatever position you're in, go ahead and release all the way down. Good. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. Place your right hand to the inside of your right knee and just gently press your right knee forward. So you can already create a pretty gentle stretch there. And so if you're working on gentleness as you go forward into your evolution, you can stay here. If you know what, I need a lot more than that, go ahead and draw your left thigh bone in. And if you're still like, you know what, I wish I could feel this more, cross your right thigh bone over your left thigh bone And grab your outer ankles and pull your ankles in towards you. So Gomukhasana legs. And breathe. Close your eyes. I think I said this the other day in class that prayer is when you're talking to a higher power. And meditation is when you're listening. And in yoga, we believe that that divine power lives within, resides within, and that we have access to it. We can still the chaos that's going on in our minds. And we can hear that still small voice inside. Good. So whichever variation you have, go ahead and place both feet back down on the floor. Cross your left ankle over your right knee. Left hand presses the left knee out to the left, and you assess. Good. And then when you're ready, if you're ready, you can move on to any other variation of this stretch. Stay where you are. Whatever you're doing, make sure you don't go to sleep in your body, right? So you still want to flex the left toes towards the shin. You still want to push the left knee out away from you towards the front of your mat. Whichever variation of the stretch you have, release it. Extend your left leg out on the yoga mat, hug your right knee in towards your chest. Send your right arm out to the right and slowly twist your right knee over to the left, coming into that easy twist. Can you be present for that still, small voice, or is your mind racing again? It's okay if it is, just bring yourself back. It's a practice of continually bringing yourself back. Slowly make your way back to center. Give your right knee a nice little squeeze, and then switch it off. Bring your left knee in, extend your right leg out. Left arm to the left, slowly start to twist it over, gazing towards the left. Even the pose is like a metaphor for our process, right? We evolve into the shape, and even if you've been here for several rounds of breath, you might still feel that inner evolution of the way things are opening, even if it's invisible from the outside, right? We can still feel that there is a subtle change. The more we practice yoga, the more we are conscious and aware, because we have a habit of looking within, and we have a better understanding of the barometer. Good, so slowly bring it back to the center. Give your left knee one last little squeeze, and then add your right knee. Squeeze both knees in towards your chest. Lift your head and your shoulders up, and just give yourself a hug. And just hold yourself wherever you are in this process, lovingly. And as you exhale, soften your body for Savasana. And so set up your Savasana. If you need a blanket or sweatshirt, if you need to have your knees bent or roll up a blanket, place it underneath your knees. If you want to take Supta Baddha Konasana, take your blocks and support the outside of your thighs. You know what? Your inner wisdom is going to tell you what's going to be the most restorative position for you right now. Maybe it's a seated meditation. Whatever it is, find your way there. And
and commit to being where you are. So if you're in a restful, restorative shape, commit to being restful and restorative. If you're in a seated meditation, commit to being alert in your body so that you can be clear in your mind. So in the last few moments of your meditation, new or renew, or renew, new again. Slowly start to find movement in your body. Eventually allow those movements to take you to a seated position. There's no rush. You could stay in Savasana for 10 more minutes if you wanted to.
As you make your way into that seated position, rest your hands on your inner knees again. Allow your shoulders to soften away from your ears and imagine you could lift your heart from the inside out. So what is seeking to emerge through you? What is this continuous evolution? And can you be present to it so that you can learn to move with the flow of life? Allow the wisdom of the years to, alter your perception or inform your perception. Bring your hands to your third eye. Rest your thumbs gently on your third eye. So this is a metaphor for clarity and vision, inner vision and intuition, like outer vision, like seeing clearly. And then draw your thumbs down towards your heart and rest your thumbs gently on your heart. And just feel that quality, that there's like a aliveness there. Imagine you could lift your heart towards your thumbs and then bow the crown of your head down. So you make that connection, head and heart, wisdom and feeling. Take a moment to just visualize your evolution as it continues to unfold, whatever that looks like. And then just find gratitude in your heart for this clarity, this wisdom, this knowledge of your own self. So allow your eyes to open. Namaste.